Hello everyone. So there have been a few videos in the past that people really liked, and it was when I was talking about being sensitive and also about narcissistic abuse. And I found a video that I will hope to find and link. It's a lovely woman who talks about INFP personality type. But in at the end of the day, it's just about being sensitive and how narcissists abuse that. All of us have experience with narcissists. They're everywhere. But what I bring now is my perspective, which is someone who grew up with a narcissist, someone who was together with a narcissist for a long time in a relationship after that. And then now, a couple years later, I'm so cutthroat. I'm so like, I have really strong boundaries with these people. I really don't. I almost I feel like it's sad that you have this existence, but I'm not gonna feed it. I'm not gonna accept it. I don't want it in my life. Like, go somewhere else with all of that. So it's weird because a lot of times we ask ourselves, am I a narcissist? Like, after we've been with a narcissist, because they usually also project. So we have to ask ourselves, are we? Are we? And if you're a very empathetic person, if you're a kind person, it actually really hurts to hear these things, to hear people thinking that you're lying or you're the one who's manipulating everything, you know? It makes us feel like shit because we're like, hey, wait a minute. I've done so much for you. I've had so much understanding, trying to figure you out, trying to help you, trying to love you. And you're saying I'm an evil person because I'm doing this and this and that on purpose. So they play into, especially if you're a woman, they play into this caretaking thing, into this, oh, do you not care about me? And oh, my past. And that's why I'm doing all of this. And now I'm like, hey, look, that's really unfortunate, right? I also have my trauma, but it's not an excuse, okay? That's my mentality now. So let's go through the list and see why it's so difficult and how we can break out of this forever, especially if you're a sensitive person, an intuitive person, a kind person. And also if you had people pleaser issues, because I will break you out of that shit. Okay, the first thing is psychological manipulation. So abusers use tactics like gaslighting to make victims question their reality and sanity. Well, after all of self-reflection, pondering, if you sit down, if you're a person who sits down after an argument, let's say, and you think about the things that the person accused you of, right? Which with narcissists, they usually just say something that makes you seem like you're not perfect. And I realized that. I'm like, oh, well, they're trying to say I'm not perfect. Well, I am not perfect. I never claimed to be perfect. They think if you criticize them, that means you're putting yourself in a superior position. They will try to turn the tables. They will act like you're the one, you're the one who's doing all of these malicious things. So with gaslighting, it just simply doesn't work for me now because I just know what's going on. I trust in myself. If you're a person who does these things, who does think about it, even if it's ridiculous, and especially if you're like, you really question yourself, you're like, hey, that make me feel like shit, but is that true? If you do that in any capacity, you're not a narcissist. You're already better than them, and yes, I said it. Yes, we are better than them because we care enough. I mean, maybe they don't have the capacity. Maybe it's not always their fault that they turn that way. But in a way, it is their responsibility, right? Especially if they don't have a good life. They don't have a good life. Like, yeah, this system sometimes breeds evilness and encourages it and validates it. Anyway, yeah, so if anybody tells me now, oh, what you're saying, trying to gaslight me, I'm like, no, that's not what happened. That's not what happened. And at some point I refuse to interact, to be honest with you, because there's no point. I'm not going to defend myself, sit here and defend myself. I can say one fact, one can make a statement, and that's about it. So that's how you get out of that. You can't engage and defend yourself because that's just playing the game. The problem is we think they're like us. We think they might have a motive, but it's not the same motive that we have, right? Their motive is maybe to just feel superior or feel, their ego being stroked or whatever by putting you down. Don't fall for that. And to do that, we have to get over the pain. We have to get over the hurt of this behavior because it's very hurtful. And if a person is close to you and they do that to you, And yeah, even if they don't always mean it, even if it's unconscious, even if it's because of their past trauma, as I said, again, to me, it's not an excuse. I'm like, no, just no. End of the story. There's no overthinking anymore that I waste on these people. After a certain point of trying to figure them out, you need to stop and you need to go back to yourself and take care of yourself because you're wasting a lot of time on other people. Okay? All right, so the next thing is lack of empathy. Narcissistic abusers are unable to understand or recognize the feelings of others, focusing only on their own needs. Now, obviously, that's self-serving, so it makes sense why that's happening. But if somebody doesn't want to acknowledge my feelings and all of these things, I'm like, oh, okay, so you don't care. And a lot of times narcissists, they actually don't care to defend these things when you call them out. When you start calling them out, that's the end. Like, that's why sometimes, as I said, I don't engage anymore, because if I feel like I have to call them out now, like really directly, I stop. I stop because it never ends well. It's best to just disengage. As somebody who's very woo-woo and spiritual and crazy in some people's eyes, I mean, whatever you want to think about me, this energy that other people have, it affects us, whatever that energy is. So I'm not going to let these people be in my space. People who don't have empathy, who are like robots. And I will say you're acting like a robot, like you're acting like you don't have feelings. You don't understand. I'm like, kind of like, are you stupid? I'm not saying that as again, these things, it can result in a lot of fighting if you can't control what comes out. But I know most people who are sensitive on all of these things, they're too nice. They would never do that anyway. But I'm just saying, like, I felt that way when I was really honest with myself. I realized that I was raised like this. I was raised to be a people pleaser. Kids are ruthless. They will tell you if they don't want something, they will show you, they will cry even if they can't express it. They will let it out. And we are so emotionally, energetically constipated as adults that these people have easy pickings. Even just being exhausted with everything that's going on. You're just like, I have a friend who says she doesn't want to make new enemies. And while she does have more boundaries than she used to, it still leaves an open space for people to take advantage still. Because if you don't want to make enemies, then they have something to control you with. Just by accusing you of doing something wrong, you will fold. Don't let them do that, okay? So coercive control. The abuser gradually takes away the victim's sense of autonomy through manipulation and control. And by the way, I don't have empathy for these people anymore. I naturally have a lot of empathy. So my brain will always go there to understand, to put myself in their shoes. But I realized that I have to be selfish with this. I have to realize that the underlying thing is me trying to figure out how to navigate the situation. So stop there. Don't go further. Don't analyze them like a therapist would. Do that for yourself. So the control, yeah. Again, if you have not a lot of resistance to people controlling you, doing what they want, like, then you're gonna just be easily manipulated. So you have to be firm and a little bit prickly instead of being so nice, only if you realize that a person wants to control you. You know, it's kind of like you're allergic to this. You're allergic to other people controlling you. You're addicted to your own intuition and your emotions, and like not like that, okay? Not like, oh, I feel bad, so I have the right to punch a hole in the wall, obviously. But you're not wrong for being sensitive and all of these things, right? And just lean into that. Lean into that. Take care of yourself. That's how you take care of yourself. Especially as a sensitive person. Don't let anybody tell you that you're too sensitive. You're making a big deal. Yes. Yes is my answer. Yes, I am. I am. I am. What are you going to do about it now? Huh? Okay, I might not talk like that, but that's how I feel. this just take that energy, please. Claim that energy. Claim that energy, because I'm saying all of this is after people show you these characteristics of a narcissist, of abuse. It's abuse to control, because abuse sounds like, oh, you're beating down somebody. No, abuse is you're using something in the wrong way. You can abuse healthy things. You can abuse love and connection. And that's what people do because they feel unsafe. They feel out of control. They are out of control. They need you to ground them. They don't deserve it though. If they can't even do the bare minimum, like, let's be honest, most of us just have the bare minimum. Most of us don't have high standards. Like, be real. High standards. What is it a high standard to say, oh, a man has to have money and pay my bills, but you don't care about anything else because you're like, oh, I know this is a lot, so I can't expect him to actually love me and actually be loyal and actually this and that. People have to stop deluding themselves and be for real. Be for real, honestly. Anyway, charming on the outside. Narcissists often appear kind, caring, and charming to people outside the abusive relationship, hiding their abusive behavior. This is so infuriating because I remember feeling like my ex was nicer to strangers than he was to me. And he was a people pleaser only to people. The furthest away the person was, the more people pleaser he would be. I'm not talking about public figures, right? But like people that they know in real life. Like, yeah, some narcissists, they will be shit to a waiter or waitress or staff members. Yeah, some of them will, or some of them will be just weird, but a lot of narcissists are not, they're covert narcissists, meaning they're like secret narcissists. Because, and this is the kicker, they know what they're doing is wrong. Otherwise, they would just be authentic. They're not only ashamed of how they really are, they also just don't want to acknowledge it at all. Yeah, it's easier to push it away, you know? And the funny thing also is they copy you. If you have been with a narcissist, you have low self-esteem. It's just a fact. It's normal. It's natural. It's normal. Most people have low self-esteem anyway. But especially if you're a people pleaser person, because you always have that in the back of your mind. You don't want to be an asshole. You want to be a nice person. You want to have a positive impact. You mean well. You're a good person, actually, right? I can say it. You can't say it for yourself, but I can say it. You're a good person, right? So they copy certain things that you do. I didn't even realize it. In a way, narcissists are a mirror. And sometimes it's scary because you feel like, oh, am I the narcissist? Because they make me feel crazy. They make me feel like I want to control them. Because they make me feel very unsafe. And yes, for example, I have a healthy amount of jealousy, but for me, if I'm overly jealous, I feel like it's never because, let's say I'm jealous of another woman because I feel like she looks better than me or has more. I'm hurt that my partner would pay more attention maybe to someone else because I'm thinking in my mind, aren't you together with me because you think I'm a special person and you, like, I'm dear to your heart and you think I'm special, so you should be devoted to me. That's the real thing. Exploitation. They may exploit others to achieve their own goals, viewing relationships as superficial and serving their own self-enhancement. My father he had very narcissistic tendencies, and he always said, oh, you're just gonna be glad when I die. Okay? He was implying that his own children didn't love him. And I think it was because in the back of his mind, he knew he was a shitty person, right? He knew he could do better. He was smart enough to do better, 100%. He was a philosopher. He taught philosophy in a university. He wrote books, all kinds of things. He was smart, right? But emotionally, he wasn't very smart at all. So he would project these things on other people, and that changes how you treat people. If you think everybody hates you, you don't act the same way. And a lot of times the people turn inward, turn against themselves and say, oh my God, I'm a shitty person, I'm not good enough, are often paired up with this narcissist who we kind of have the same issue in a way, but they show it in a way that the outside world is shit and they suck and I will just take what I can. And that's why we often feel like we are narcissistic, because we can understand why. And we just choose not to, which makes you a good person. Don't get it twisted. Everybody has intrusive thoughts. Everybody has an ego. Everybody has demons in them, if you want to say it. And everybody has access to something better, a higher power, whatever that means to you. But these narcissists often, what's also interesting, they told me, they have to say, they have to admit it at some point. Like one guy said, he's the god of the, he's connected to the god of the underworld or some crazy shit, because I had dreadlocks. And even though I've never spoke about spirituality, even if I say, oh, I don't believe in religion, but I believe in God, they can kind of tell that I'm spiritual, so they try to say this shit. But it's not completely wrong. All of them seem demonic because they are. And they know it. They know that they subscribe to darkness. Now you can say demons don't exist. Just replace that word with darkness and negativity and exploitation and all of this. Selfishness. They are already married to that. They already have a partner. They're already taken. They're already married. Right? They're married to that. They're married to themselves, but not even in a way that they take good care of themselves. So don't be the caretaker. It costs a lot of money to take care of people, especially like this. And if you work a job, people can't just completely abuse you. Like, are we in a third world country now? Like, that shit shouldn't happen anywhere. And especially not behind closed doors in your own home. So don't accept it. Just don't accept it. Fakeness. I don't engage. I'm gonna give the bare minimum. I'm gonna act like I'm so busy. I am, because I as soon as I notice somebody's fake, I'm disinterested. You know, it's almost like, let's say somebody gives you a surprise box with a big question mark on it. It's a little box. And you open it and there's like a piece of garbage inside. I'm gonna say, okay, I'm just gonna put that down and focus back on my life. Like, stop distracting me with this nonsense. Okay, and if my partner ever again doesn't stand up for me, it's not on my side in any way, when other people, and not crazy, okay, I'm not toxic. Maybe, maybe you think I am. I really am not. I just don't want to be with somebody who, for example, if their parents is just nasty for no reason, No good reason. There's never a reason to be nasty. They're grown-up people, right? We're all grown-up people. And you're my partner, and I'm here in this vulnerable situation where I'm confronted with your people, your family, for example, and you don't stand up for me. I don't feel safe with you, right? So I don't accept this stuff. I just don't. You can never be that bad that you have to accept this to have love. You don't. You actually don't need to be less sensitive for a relationship. No. You just need to focus a little bit more on yourself, right? And if you become obsessive and ruminating and everything about people that you're like, when you're infatuated with someone, like when you're in this honeymoon phase, when you're having a crush or all of these new feelings, we obsess over people a bit. And it's very difficult not to do that. But if you know that you do it in a way that really distracts you from your life, I don't think you should have a relationship. And I'm starting to question myself, like, where is this healthy person that would be suitable for a relationship? Because I don't see them. But I'm not bitter anymore where I think, oh, I'm just a magnet for narcissists. No, there's narcissists everywhere. They will do their shit. They will play their game. They will run the script. And if they see that you're even a little nice or a little whatever, they will try. They're not really looking at you. They don't know you. And they can't really know you. They only give you the feeling that they know you because they want to find out how they can use you, how they can use your blind spots against you. And yes, it is a situation where you have to feel like, for them not to cheat, for example, you have to keep running after them, keep up with them. That's what they want because you're obsessed with them while they're having their fun, pretending they're not, pretending they're a good guy, whatever, good girl. And you know they're not. But you keep being obsessed with them for years and years and years. Okay, I'm starting to sound like I don't have empathy because why are you doing that? Just why? You have to you haven't been raised right. A lot of us haven't been raised right. You have to raise yourself again. Get rid of these critical voices in your head that come from your parents or society. You're too this, you're too that. Screw them. If I want to change, I will change. Yes, we are people who get hooked on things that are not good for us or do things that are not good for us and stuff, but you can never change by just beating yourself down and being an eternal victim. Stand up. Stand up. Stand up and take a damn walk. Okay? And release. Burn a candle, burn incense, burn herbs or something, sage, holy water, spray it around. I don't know. Pour salt around, like do something, okay? Do something that is not focusing on them and everything. And yeah, maybe sometimes you need to sit there and just grieve. Just understand they try to really suck out your soul. And that hurts. Right? It hurts because it's a forceful thing to do. And you let it happen, sorry to say, but just it's not that you're too sensitive. That's all I'm trying to say. It's just because you let these things happen because you feel shit about yourself or you're just desperate. You're desperate because you feel shit about yourself, because you feel like there's something missing. Honestly, if a random man comes into my life, it would just be a distraction right now. I have so much going on. It would have to be a very supportive person, all of that. And that's why I haven't had experiences with narcissists in over a year now. Like, they're not close to me. I just don't let them close. So be careful of people taking advantage of you in any type of way. For example, there was a guy, he said he wanted me to work on his website. He gave me £50 once, which was already, I was like, is he going to pay me? Is he not going to pay me? He did pay me £50 for these hours I did. And then he kept talking to me and chatting to me on WhatsApp after that, right? And I didn't reply Because I have a life. I have a child, I have a life, I do other things. And I'm not working for him full time. I was supposed to do a few hours a week, like a little thing, not employed, that's a weird thing. Like I was self-employed. I'm helping you with your website. Why are you bothering me the whole time? And he just talks. It's just talking. And then he calls me and I don't pick up. And he's like, oh, why are you not picking up? And I said, because I'm not working. It was a whole argument. He said I had an attitude and now I have a brand named attitude because I own that shit. Yes, I have an attitude. What's your problem now? My attitude is that I'm not working. I'm in my free time. I have other things to do. And you're being rude. Okay, you're being rude. Maybe I'm not this direct with people, but they do get the message. And either you have to block them, whatever, or they remove themselves because it's too difficult. It's best if you don't have the confrontation. It's best if you're just kind of like I don't know, a wet sock. I don't want to say this. I know it sounds disgusting. Just your rock, your rock. You're a gray rock. Yeah, the gray rock method, if you want to look that up. Basically, you just become stoic, very stoic with these people. You're guarded with these people. You're not bitter, but you're like, I don't like you in your mind, don't bother me. Don't bother me. And I can't work with these people. Obviously, I noticed that they just can't be close. It doesn't feel right. It's just disturbing. It's disturbing to even witness these people in action. Very, very uncanny. Because they're not really human. They don't act human. And it's a big deal to get over that and to feel like, wow, that is the problem? That's the real problem? They're parasites, exploiting other people, taking their energy, using them for their validation. I don't care about that shit. And now I feel like I kind of repel these people. So I felt like I was a magnet. And now I flipped the switch. And this is something you can do immediately. You don't need to work hard. You don't need to heal this and that. Yes, you need to heal, but for yourself mainly. Just stay away from people until you feel like you feel stronger and you feel more content. Like, what's the point of being? You can't use somebody to make you feel happy. That is the real problem. This whole codependency, like you're dependent on other people to feel a type of way. So if they want to make you feel like shit, they will make you feel like shit. And I'm not saying it's possible to completely switch off your emotions and you turn to be like a robot. No. But the impact is going to be way less. It's going to bother you way less. Instead of weeks of crap, it's going to be maybe a couple hours of bad feelings. So we have two more things. Emotional volatility and aggression. Narcissistic personality disorder is linked with emotional volatility, rage, and aggression, often directed at those closest to them. So the same thing as being nice to other people and not being nice to you, especially if you're together with them or if they're a parent or whatever. They can play nice, they can be a good host, and then when people leave, then you hear it, oh my God. And it's so draining, and it's like, it's really rude. It's like, I don't care how you feel if you behave this way. Fix the way you talk, fix your tone, or leave, or I will leave. And this is not often something that we can express. I have been in some difficult situations in my life. I have been in some dangerous situations in my life. And it is dangerous to be with a narcissist. It's very dangerous. So I know how it feels to do something that doesn't make sense on the outside. If people only knew how the narcissist really is, they're going to think, why didn't you run away yet? And we know it's complicated, especially if they're a parent. But I can tell you, when you get to know yourself again, for real, and this is a long-term thing. This is a long-term thing. Kaizen. My name is Kaizen Empress on YouTube for a reason. I'll explain it right after the last point. Okay? So let's just go over the last point and then I'll give you the end. Sense of entitlement and grandiosity. Abusers often have an exaggerated sense of self-importance, a belief in their superiority, and a sense of entitlement. Now, we have to understand that they do this as a defense mechanism. You can try to help a friend and they feel grateful and they feel like you're a good friend and they love talking to you. They love your energy. And then the narcissist sees the same things. He's envious, jealous, or she. They hate you for it. They're like, oh my God, they think they're so good. Oh, they think they're so, ooh, you know? They want to knock you down your pedestal that you're not even on. They put you on a pedestal. They're actually obsessed with you, but not in a good way, not in a way that is beneficial. I think if you yourself are a psychopath or sociopath or something, or if you're very detached, you can exploit narcissists, I think, fairly easy if you do understand how they work. But you'd have to be so inauthentic all the time. I don't believe that's healthy. All of this is just like stepping into the demonic world and trying to live with demons. Like, why would we do that? So I don't understand why, especially women, put themselves in such vulnerable positions. You don't know if that guy is going to end you one day. He's already aggressive. He's already abusive. Like, what are you waiting for? But a lot of these women just already feel so bad and so depressed. You know, it's real. It's real. People really can feel so low. There's such low states of feelings that being with a narcissist, even if the love is very sporadic and not real, at least it's there. At least it's something that they don't have otherwise. That's how they feel. That's how you feel. That's how I felt when I was with a narcissist. I felt like, oh, he's bad, but others are worse. You can always find worse people, but that doesn't excuse one behavior. And especially you don't triangulate. Like, it's very easy to bring in other people in the narcissistic relationships. That's triangulation. And it's not bad. It's not toxic. It becomes toxic if that's your only thing you do and you're very dependent on that. Because sometimes you just have to sit down, be real with yourself and say, okay, I am a sensitive person. For example, I'm a sensitive person, or I'm a caring, nice person, like kind, like I want to do stuff for other people. I want to understand them. I want to show them grace and all of these things. But I made a mistake because I overshared. I was too nice. I didn't stand up for myself. I didn't stop them at any point. I didn't give any resistance to anything, even if what they did didn't feel good. You have to learn that it's not that scary. Now that you're grown up, hopefully, it's not that scary to stand up for yourself and to tell people, I didn't like that. And you can leave it at that if you want to. Because if after this it's a big conversation and this and that, I mean, I do try to explain myself, but that's kind of it. Like, if it depends on the person. If I feel like a narcissist will never have a proper conversation with you, that's what I'm trying to say. That's how you find out if somebody, I have a person, there is someone where in the past I didn't know if they were narcissistic or not. And you can have some narcissistic defense mechanisms. You know, like people turn to arrogance or talking crazy good about themselves, almost sarcastically even, or maybe they try to mean it just because they want to make themselves feel better in that moment. Maybe they do it with humor even. That's what makes people charming. That's what makes narcissists charming, when they also do that. They can own negative shit, and okay, sometimes it's a sob story, but it can also, it can turn charming if somebody owns these things. Like, there's a reason why we're attracted to a narcissist as well. It's not just that they're completely fake. No, most of us do feel like, oh, there's some darkness, oh, there's this and that, but it's intriguing that this person, you feel like they've integrated it somehow, they've owned it somehow in a way that makes them more aware or something than other people. I can talk shit about narcissists all day and what evilness and shit they do. But be real with yourself in why you're attracted to them. And they do mirror a toxic parent or something often. Or something you had growing up. So, feeling confused, overthinking, you're isolated, you feel you are the problem, you know you're being controlled or manipulated because they're not really honest, and they act different if they're in private or in public. That is all you need to know to cut this person out of your life. I don't even think it's worth explaining, but sometimes we need this closure. So either if you don't have anybody to talk to, in last time I was with a narcissist and broke up, all I did was I never wrote or said anything like try to contact them again about closure. I was really processing it for a long time. And if I had written them, let's say every week, once a week, every week would be a different message because I think about it more and I'm like, wow, maybe they did do this and that on purpose. You know, because we always think the best of people. So we assume that they mean well, or that, oh, it's their trauma, they're unaware, they can't help it. They don't have self-control. Oh, poor baby. Are you a caretaker? Do you know what that means? You're sacrificing your own life right now for this person. God, I don't know if this video is going to be pushed because I'm using so many negative words. I don't talk about these things a lot anymore because, as I said, it's quite simple when you get over the hurt, when you've grieved. So I want to just end this video with just remind you, please like it if you liked it. And I want to explain Kaizen, why I renamed my channel Kaizen Empress. So Kaizen is a Japanese word. It's, okay, it says a business concept, whatever. A Japanese business concept emphasizing constant, small improvements in all areas of operations. So that's what I subscribe to. Constant, small improvements, which when you look back, you know, when you start doing this and then let's say 1 year in the future, you look back, you're like, wow, how did I do it? Like, you know, you had all of these small things. That's why. That's how. And I share these things in every video. So you don't feel alone and you know, to give some guidance. An empress is because I'm building an empire for myself. And it's not the typical entrepreneur thing because it's not really, it started with me and it's me and it's my essence. I'm an artist. I do things that have my essence in it. It's kind of like positive magic, so to speak, that I feel like I'm doing and practicing daily. So if you enjoy that, then subscribe if you care and talk to you very soon. Thanks for staying. Hope to see you soon. Bye.